Broadcasting live from the whew, old man should not run across the room, ravaged bayous of Louisiana. Tis I, Maximilian Tucker, the Fez Lord himself. Sure, a little late day coffee. What could it hurt? 2 minutes before showtime. But it is mighty tasty. Welcome, everybody. I hope everybody is having a may the odds be ever in your favor. Welcome. Why keep the box? Speaking of why keep the box, it's very relevant for today's show, and we're going to get to that. Diaz, the odds were not in your favor, but try again next time. Haystack, man, I got everybody here tonight. Wonderful. And it's a big day, apparently. A very, very big day, because just across every geeky nerdum spectrum that you could imagine, there was news today. At least everything I'm interested in. I don't know about everybody else, but you've got all the G.I. Joe kids, going, oh my God, what's going to happen now? Lenny is gone. And, but hey, listen, the good news is not only did Lenny leave Hasbro and went to Boss Fight Studios, Corey, who we were all very equally upset over being terminated from Hasbro, also took a job at Boss Fight Studios. So I imagine whatever happens, some good things coming to Boss Fight Studios. And I know that they deal a lot with some of the Frazetta stuff, and I know that is something that has been in the works for a bit to get that Frazetta stuff out there. And that's going to be a good thing. No matter how anybody has felt, it's we can put, with the exception of a couple of us, we can put any personal feelings aside, and always criticism towards Lenny has been on a professional of why would you do that kind of thing when it's not what we wanted. But I do hope the best for him in the future, and especially for Corey, because Corey is an amazing designer. And Rowdy Riles in the house, and damn sure, please hit that like button. I'm really trying to care about building an audience with this show. And this show is just me, which is kind of unusual because it's not do we go to Max for toy news? Sometimes. Do we go to Max for art news? Yeah, maybe occasionally. Do we go to hear Max, just talk about some random shit all the friggin' time? So, but you get a 50-year-old man with epilepsy, and who knows what you're going to get tomorrow. We may be talking about something else. And listen, I make the best iced coffee. The trick is French press. If you've never had make your coffee with French press, it's the way. You can take the cheapest Folgers coffee, throw it in there in the morning. As soon as it starts cooling off, you put it in the fridge, and it's good for the next day. Oh, oh, I have been known to deal in rumors upon occasion. Max. Oh, no, 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 no. Max, like, listen, I like good, bad movies. Okay. In fact, there is a YouTube channel you can base this all off. He's done all the work for us. It's called Good Bad Movies or Good Bad Films. Check it out. Uh, mm, well, I don't know how to really answer this. Yeah, I'm considering moving when all this health stuff and everything else uh makes me get foreclosed on my mortgage and I am forced to move. And that is that's yeah, that's that yeah, we're not gonna get that depressing that early in the show. Um listen, and I don't want to get too much onto this because again it's something I keep in the back of my mind because I do have to pay once a year for all this. And I have invested in the equipment that allows me to look this good and sound this good without, um, being an absolute mess. So monetization isn't my goal, but it's definitely something that it's an option. At least, I don't want to be one of those where every 5 minutes you get hit with some ad space. And that is absolutely not my goal. I really like I do want to be able to do some members only stuff. That is a goal. And being able to do it in a way that um isn't just, there no multi-level, stuff like that. And, it just I like the way Rowdy does it. Send me $1. It was good enough for this Church of the Subgenius to teach all about the teachings of Bob. And yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. You can get away with stuff on members only. I'm really trying to watch my language now. I think some of my I get I was raised by a sailor. So hey, what's up, Super Super Mm, that's that brain not working. But it wants to. Super K44, sup to you. But yeah, I definitely this is never going to be a family, uh oh, it's Sunday evening. Let's all retire to the parlor and entertain ourselves with the yarns of Maximilian Tucker. And no, they ain't never gonna be that, but um it's I definitely yeah, it I want to keep it down just a little bit too. Because I get a little the boys level Billy Billy Butcher level foul mouth. And it's that's definitely something that come on, Mike, work with me, not against me. That I wanna work on. But it's I've noticed with I don't lose subs. Um no matter what I do, uh, if I lose one, I gain two, but it always just kind of stays there. So does that mean I've kind of plateaued with what I'm doing? Does that mean that I'm not hashtagging? There's a few things that, I know is probably just lazy. I don't want to call it laziness. It's just I haven't I can't commit because, sometimes this isn't just, a lot of people are like, "Oh, YouTube is just high school," but it's not. I'm reaching out on a worldwide platform. Um, Anybody, anywhere in the world can watch what I'm saying, and anybody who's on YouTube. Um, and that matters. And I think a lot of people don't know how much it matters. Um, it gets to the point where we kind of take for granted that, maybe we're in a small safe space and we can just do whatever. And um I don't even again and again I finish a fucking sentence, Max. I want to, but I don't know where to go with it. I don't know what to do. And I know there's some videos, like how to get 10,000 followers, and yeah, they're called bots. um I still want to maintain, I want to do things that YouTube and the algorithm like, but I still want to maintain an organic growth. I want the people, and I did this once before. When I had my tattoo shop, I had the Nakatosh Tattoo Company uh Facebook page. It was a business page. I never paid for really advertising, anything like that. Occasionally you boost a post, something like that, but it was never of any kind of relevance. And I went from nobody in a small little town in Louisiana to, I think, at a height that was somewhere around 26,000 followers, which for a small small business, um, that was a lot of organic growth. Um, Enough to where this entire town could not realize that, when I was, how I did it or why it was me, because, of course, they're a little small town. You got one business who's been here for 35 plus years, and they can't figure out why, you know, nobody is following them on Facebook. And it was just, and I know hashtags have something to do with it, stuff like that. Yeah, and hey, listen, you joke, but that is actually a thing. Um, there's there's a lot of there's a lot of people that, especially, that they put out that first little hate video, and they see everybody jumping on board with them, and they start thinking that that's what they need to do every week. I mean, it's, you got, I think there's one guy, I think his entire damn career on YouTube is nothing but, you know hating Disney and Ollie's, and, just okay. What else you got? Um, and I do put out a little bit of unpleasantry. If I see some wrongdoing, I am going to speak up. Um, like this recent shit with that chode idiot. Um, and that's relevant to me, somebody who That's one of the reasons why I'm a little nervous about just, I think, the push I've given into getting into a lot of YouTube. And now I've been doing it over a year. Um, this is we're about to hit a year and a half of episodes of I still haven't even put out a name for the show. It's just insert your name. Insert name here. Um, it it's how deep do you want to get into it? Because once you get into it, the algorithm does not like change. It likes you to keep a steady pace. So if you start doing something one week, you need to keep doing that. And that can be for or against you. And some of those and listen, I know some people, they get together and like, hey, I'm gonna beef with you this week. And it turns into something silly and all that's just for fun. Um and some people are real on it. Me, if I'm gonna beef with somebody, it's going to be, hey, you know, you're a piece of shit. Everybody should know that. Um and most of the time, those are useless anyway, because if you just sit there and watch somebody long enough, uh, you'll see them and they'll just do it to themselves, just like that, you know, idiot is. Um, the true colors always come out. Everybody can make a mistake and everybody can come back, but it's did I see Leah? Leah, hi. How you doing, ma'am? Um, it's it is what it is, but it's there should be some growth no matter what you're doing. And if I'm sitting at the same place I was a year ago, it means that I'm not growing at all. I don't mind small growth. In fact, I prefer it. 'Cause small growth is manageable. I'm an old broken man. Um, so this wasn't what I was going to talk about tonight at all. How the hell did we get here? So that's every episode of my show is how the hell did we get here? We'll be talking about food and movies in 5 minutes, so don't worry, people. Um, but small growth is manageable. I've ran a business. I know fast growth is can be destructive. Um, it yeah, well, that's probably most. I listen, it's just payback. I'm sure I earned it some way or another. Um, it I don't know. But small growth is manageable. Small growth um would be nice because that means that any new faces coming in have kind of earned their place and aren't just hate watchers. Sure, I got a few of those who like watching just to send back that one or two that little message to, and those people can, they know what they can. But anyway, there's so much. Oh wait, what? I am I ignoring your comment? What comment? Which this one? Ah, hold on. Next week when you stream, do vertical and horizontal. Just try it. I do, but here's the problem with the vertical and horizontal. I had that once. I do have that option where it can do both. Um, I watched those numbers, and the vertical, which if you don't know, that means like, people watching on their phone, and it doesn't make my head, this big, when you're trying to watch on your phone horizontally. Just here's the key: turn your phone sideways. Um, but you get a lot more numbers that way, but you also get it's when you're pushing that many numbers on your vertical, and it's the reason I stopped doing it, is that a lot of your regulars who are watching this on TV or on computer or on an iPad, something to where the horizontal is relevant, um, they are accidentally going to the vertical, and you don't see the comments. You don't see the comment interaction, whereas if you just have it one way, and it's unfortunate because I like you'll make a comment and then say, that would be something that Diaz would want to interact with. But he never sees it because you're on the vertical and he's on the horizontal. And Name of my sex tape. But yeah, adapting as well. This is, and I have seen incredible numbers uh with the vertical presentation. Uh and I know a lot of people watch this on their phone and stuff like that, but uh that's an us problem, not a your problem. Well, not necessarily, because it's still, it's an all of our problem. Because if I'm trying to, feed you, and you as want to be fed, and I'm trying to feed you soup with a fork, then it all comes around to the same problem. And I'm not a, YouTube analyst. I've watched a number of their, YouTube analysts, and I need to kind of research that horizontal vertical thing a little bit. Maybe it is something that I need to bring back. Uh, but I also find that it clouds, um, there it is. There it is. That's that is definitely something that is a YouTube problem. Now something I have noticed too, and something that I am probably going to have to stop, um, is I broadcast like I am tonight on YouTube, and I'm broadcasting on Facebook. YouTube does not like this. They don't like this at all. Um, and that is something that is probably about to stop. I've been trying to the reason I still go on Facebook is trying to get people to come over to the YouTube and watch everything here. But I'm old, and a lot of my friends are old. So sorry, Haystack. It's true. Um, and old people don't like to change what they do. Facebook was good enough for me 10 years ago. It's good enough for me now. I don't need to change nothing about what I do. Oh, Um, but it is coming to an end. I've kind of been pushing it a little bit and testing out a few things. But me being on Facebook doing this every Thursday is going to be stopping. That Yeah, that's and it's just and it's also something too that when you broadcast on multiple channels, YouTube can't do ad space for it, and YouTube wants to make a penny or two off of me, even if I can't make a penny or two off of me. Did you put your shopping cart away? Come on, Haystack. That's really what it goes down to is if I broadcast on multiple streams, Facebook, my old shop page, which is now my Nakatosh Studios, my art studio page, um, and YouTube. If I do across all three of those, or even if you'll never see my ass on Twitter. But broadcasting along all of those, you think that you get more. And maybe if you've got enough volume, like if I had 10,000 subscribers, I think that it would probably be not much of a noticeable difference, but me being small time is, uh, it doesn't do me any favors. So probably, if you're watching this tonight on Facebook, make sure that you come over to my YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button. Everybody has got YouTube. My 77-year-old mother who just had her birthday. Even she's got YouTube. She hates it, but she has it. So we're running out of excuses, people. So no. Oh, yeah, but listen, there's so much. Listen, if you want G.I. Joe history, JLS Comics. That is your YouTube channel to go to. I'll bring a little bit of news every now and then, and I do want to say that I got some history to talk about tonight. And if you like G.I. Joe history, then you will definitely like tonight because I brought these out once on a show before that's now been deleted. We did a do-over because the video quality was just so horrific that for some reason my MacBook, by the way, if you didn't notice, we're segueing off of the I need please give me subs conversation. But so let me show you a little bit of what I got. Look at this. Is this not a beautiful green mat? Yeah, I've kind of noticed that a little bit, but and that's another reason why I've really been wanting to kind of I haven't been pushing too much of mass growth because it's getting harder and harder to know who to trust in the YouTube world. And the minute you come to trust somebody, I spent 5 years watching a show, interacting, and becoming involved with them. Been on a numerous amount of these shows, and then all of a sudden, it's just you start noticing the chat changing, different people that you used to interact with in the chat don't show up anymore. Um, which that happens. People go on about their lives, and and that's okay. That's I disagree with this statement 100%. I agree with this statement 100%. And it's I do too, Leah. Um, it's something that it's people love and hate the the world. Yeah, well, that's definitely a fact. Um, People love and hate the word community. Um, and it is what it is, and it means to you, what it means to a lot of people. But some people haven't had the best experience. It's I just about got completely off YouTube right after I just invested in this equipment, and then the bottom dropped out. The people I were involved with, a lot of them turned into shitheads and just went directions that I couldn't possibly follow. And it's and here I am. I watched some of my earlier videos. You'll see my interactions with a lot of people that I don't interact with anymore, either by their choice or my choice. And it's hard rebuilding when you just go. I had pretty much. Um, I did a purge. Anybody who was involved with that talker fart idiot, that racist twat. It's anybody who called him a friend, anybody who was on his page, gone. Just X'd him out. And it was the best decision I ever did. It well, it's not just me. Don't feel sorry for me. I'm well, you know what? Thank you for that, Super K. Um, but it happens to a lot more people, and it just why build a network if you don't want to call it community? Call it a network, same damn thing, of people that you've built and worked to earn their trust with your words and your presentation, and then all of a sudden just decide overnight you're going to change and go, and what's the wrestling term? Turn heel. Um, that just that's why. But anyway, let me show you what I got. So I had these come up, and I had to pick them up because this is one of my favorite things about collected GI Joes as a kid. And these are the old blueprints. And I got, oh yeah, this is, let's see, 1985, the Cobra rifle range. Oh, I love that. These things aren't in amazing shape, but I have plans for that. And once I kind of go through, um, I'll let me see. I've got paperweights. Dun, dun, dun. There we go. Anyway, so is the Cobra rifle range a bunk bed with Baroness bikini poster underneath the top bunk? Man, if I always wanted bunk beds as a kid, and I had a water bed. And I'm pretty sure it led to a lot of, oh, it was wonderful and awful at the same time. If you've never had a water bed, um, you're lucky. Um, there's a thing about water beds. They are 100% dependent upon a heater. And if that heater doesn't work, then you will die of hyperthermia. And I'm going to tell you, I loved it and hated it at the same time. The day I got rid of it was, um, oh yeah. See, here's the thing that you do to your friends when you're a kid. When you have a horrible bed and you have a sleepover, you're always like, oh, my best friend, take my bed. I insist. You'll sleep so well. I'm sorry, Haystack. This is why karma's coming back on me. It's because I had Haystack. I let him sleep on the waterbed, and I went and got to sleep on the lazy boy. Oh yeah. It well, if you have a heater that has a bad circuit, you can electrify. You can fry your ass. Or if that thing springs a leak and that heater's, yeah. Anyway, uh, water beds. My parents had one though that had individual little cells in it, and then it had a 4-inch pillow top on top of that. So anytime, and I was the sickly kid. So I was always like, go in and sleep in my parents' bed the minute they'd leave the house, because I was a Generation X. So both parents worked and the kids were home alone to do all they wanted to all day. So, all right, I'm going to show these off. If anybody wants a close up or anything of any of these, let me know and I'll hold them up a little bit. But we got the Cobra rifle range. High rate M16 C5 5.56 Mike rifle with bayonet attachment. M6. Oh man, yeah, it goes through each. See, that's what I loved about it. It was like, I can't remember if it was Punisher War Journal that used to go through all of the Punisher's inventory. How about a fully armed Negator gyrocopter, otherwise known as the Fang? It was fantastic. You had, the blueprints on one side, and then, the where all the stickers went. Always broke that rotor on these. I had 2 or 3 of these Fangs when I was a kid. How to place your Cobra figure into the Fang. Figures sold separately. A flying submarine, because that's the thing. I expect that we're going to be seeing this as a release from Hasbro. Deep Six has been promised, and I think that they're not going to release a deep six if we're not getting a shark. So I expect that happening. Shit, I don't know. They may be canceling the whole GI Joe line. Who knows? Moving all the studios to. I hated this toy as a kid. This was one of the worst. It was supposed to float, and I'm pretty sure it had like some kind of foam or something. Did Lenny look at the flowers? Is that his OnlyFans handle? Oh man. Yeah. And you know what? Early Hasbro stuff, back in the 80s, usually, with the exception of some of the small things, you usually got a figure. The Swamp Fire didn't come with one. The Shark did. The Shark came with Deep Six. Oh, here's something that we're all going to be getting as soon as the Bivouac battle station. I never had this as a kid, but I always ended up with a lot of these other little parts for it. I think I had the cot, had a few. I know I had a bunch of the little pieces. My parents at one point, because I was such a little shithead, decided that it was, as collectors, I'm a little disappointed that they went this route. As fellow collectors, they packed up all my toys, everything, and I'm pretty sure I had it coming. I was, always doing stupid crap, and so they packed up all my stuff and put it in a warehouse behind the dealership my dad worked at, and it got pretty much ransacked by every mechanic's kids or whoever. I don't know, but very little of it survived. The Chameleon. Now, we got this coming out, and I'm going to tell you. Let me. So the Chameleon was jet powered. It had, number 4, a 1X-Z12-A microjet engine. So that's fine. So you got the new one coming out, and it's got it's got a Harley V-twin motor on the front and a jet engine in the back. And it makes no damn sense. Whoever designed the new Chameleon that's coming out ought to just be taken behind the shed. It just and left there. Why would you have a jet intake? I realize it's a fictional toy, Max. Why are you getting upset about this? Because it makes no damn sense. Why would you need a Harley motor in the front of a jet engine? There's no wheels on this. It's just skis. I've got somebody had 3 of these, which, if they're anything like me, they, always had to come up and get the Zartans, because the Chameleon came with Zartan, not his daughter from an IDF comic. Oh, my baby. Now, I think there was a blueprint that came with this, but this is just the sticker sheet for the Terrordrome. but I'm still, all these could be in better shape. I really want to get some of these framed, but I have plans for some of the other ones, and we're gonna get to that. Just stay tuned. How about the stun? This thing was fantastic. As just But then they had to add a gimmick to it where it split apart so it could shoot in multiple directions. And oh, is that it? You need the piston motor to spin up the compressor. But where's the compressor? All right. You know what? I will I you have more knowledge than this than anybody left on earth. So I will defer to your judgment. If you say that's the way it needs to be, then my argument is invalid, and you absolutely need a Harley Davidson in front of a jet engine. So there we go, everybody. uh, Tell you what, these little flags though, price one of those today. Here's probably the reason Lenny quit. They probably told him we weren't getting the Thunder Machine. They're like, no Thunder Machine, no Lenny. I love how they listed stuff. High noon, high intensity xenon spot lamps. Oh man. Fully adjustable variable select suspension, 2-station lateral personnel platforms, a knock dead 21K thrust pound turbojet. That you know what you know what I'm just realizing? Did the Thunder Machine even have an engine other than that jet in the back? See, it's got, let me see. Junked race car front grille, which was basically a Thunderbird or bio. No engine for this thing. Yeah, you know what? I've got a feeling that they either either they got Corey first, and Corey was like, "Hey, listen, I probably got it inside," or it was the other way around. But I know Corey talked about it first, and then here we are a couple days later, and Lenny, releases. But I think Boss Fight's got some big things coming, and I have not been unhappy with their figures uh, at all. I am. Oh, thing everywhere. Now here's something that you never, you always see this thing referred to as the GI Joe bridge layer. I had forgotten that it was called the Toss and Cross. Haystack ought to be having a field day today because getting to look at blueprints of imaginary and semi not imaginary military vehicles. Uh, got Toss and Cross. I mean, look at all those stickers. And let me tell you, that was the AVLB. That's right. Everybody's favorite, the Awe Striker. Oh, I wish these were in a lot better shape than they were. How about the toy that everybody wanted but nobody had? The Headquarters Command Center. And you always broke it trying to put it together. And speaking of the bivouac, here's the original Snowcat. I'll tell you what, if it was Lenny who come up with the idea of using stickers instead of look at all those figures you could stick on there. Open canopy. Place Frostbite in the driver's seat and another G.I. Joe in the passenger seat. Remove torpedo skis from to fit up to 8 more figures on Snowcat's foot pegs. Includes driver Frostbite, other figures sold separately. The Rattler. Oh, here's a real gem right here. The Raven. God, what an incredible toy that was. I mean, just they sure didn't. They sure had a lot of problems with those legs, running gear. Then, what everybody wants for a HasLab, but you ain't ever gonna get. If you ever see the whale as a HasLab, you need to know that's the end. That is the we're done. Here is the last. We're giving you one last hoorah, and that's it. End of the line. So much. This was just so. Max, what are you planning on doing with all these blueprints? Well, let me tell you. So, I have a mind, and this won't work with a lot of these, but it'll work with some of them. So, as a few people know, I paint. So, what I was thinking of doing, and when I get to right one, um, here we use the Awe Striker for an example. So, basically, what I was planning on doing was taking these and putting them with. I've got to get some archival reversible adhesive because they will have to be backed onto some kind of board, and then do a paint on one of the probably a gouache along that lines. And do I'll say like with the Thunder Machine, the large side profile, take and paint it as if it was, you know, realistic. Uh, I'm still kind of contemplating this a little bit, how I would go about doing it. Probably the first one I would do would be the swamp skier. Um, I've got 3 of these, and I'm not planning on doing this with a lot of them, but I'm going to do. I'm definitely going to do the chameleon, and I'll have 2 of these available for sale, and they'll be backed onto archival backing, probably crescent board or something like that. It'll be reversible, so if some archivist needs to, you know, take them off, it'll be something that can be done. But what I'll do is uh, I can pretty much tell you right now, I will have 2 of these chameleons where the side profile will be painted by me, kind of a in a Ron Rudat style. I don't want to. Ron Rudat is Ron Rudat, and I don't want to take any fame away from that man because he's fantastic. But I will paint in kind of a gouache directly onto the paper, and they'll be for sale. I'll have 2 chameleons probably here in the next couple months. I'll be doing pre-orders on these here. I've got another piece that I've got to have finished. The if anybody's wanting to see where we're at on that, um, that's still getting worked on. That's got to be finished by May, so I won't be starting any of these until May. But I will have 2 of Zartan's chameleons for sale. They will run around probably about 250 somewhere in there. I'm still kind of uh thinking it. Usually, any watercolor that I do starts at $300. Um, anything that's if that's just where those are just my rates. Uh, but I want to do a little something special, and it's only going to be available to subscribers. So if you want one, subscribe, get it, then you can delete me. Once you get it. That's the way the world works. But I'm gonna paint. Like I said, I'm starting with the chameleons. Um, I may get up and I've got to check with some of these because like uh the whale instructions are in fairly decent shape. So I don't want to ruin something that has a lot of value to somebody. If they're really rare, um I've I know a few people who collect the blueprints. I want to have a collection of them. The problem is I don't have any place to store them because they need to be flat. Um, but I'll have 2 of Zartan's chameleons that if I've got the orders for them, I'll begin working on in May. And I'll probably be doing at least one of them live on air. So if you are interested in this project, if you're interested in having one of these blueprints, uh, then message me on Instagram, and we can work out. Um, Usually, what I do is for any project, I require a deposit and then payment upon completion. Uh, so that's probably what I would be doing with these. And I would like to, there's some of them that this idea won't work with. Like the sticker sheet for the terror drone. That this won't work with. Uh, and I've got a few options on how I could do it. I could do kind of a Ron Rudett style. I could do kind of a Sunbow shell, cell shaded. Use your words, Max. And that have I got a Night Raven like the blueprint? Yeah, I've got a Raven blueprint. That's one of them that I believe would work. Let's see. That one would definitely not be a 2 to 250. That we would be getting into higher prices. But well, I say that it's well, it's not that much bigger when you look at the actual blueprint. Now it's got the instructions, so it's fold out and it kind of goes out, but that would probably be doing a side profile on that. It's kind of small. But this is also one of the instructions that I don't know how I would. Each instruction sheet would be kind of something that I would have to kind of think about how I wanted to approach it, and whether or not it's like doing the whale. That's a larger sheet. You don't want to do a top down. So doing the side profile would be, you would have some of the, like the motorcycle, you could do the little side of the sled, and then you do the only side profiles. So the rest of it would be the blueprint. And that's how I'd like to do it. That's my idea. And I'm sure putting this out there that now it's probably at least 1,000 other people's ideas. So, I've never seen it done. But like doing the stun, a lot of it's going to depend on the level of work that it takes to complete what needs done and how it needs painted. That's going to be the big. Like the doing the chameleon, that is doing a side profile of that, doing the also the little container on the side. Oh yeah, I mean, I have no doubts as to doing it. It's just it's also a matter of somebody paying me, because doing one just for shits and giggles. I may do a chameleon, whether anybody buys one or not. but this is most definitely going to be a uh, Max is doing this for bankroll kind of situation. um, it yeah, I mean painting something yeah, that's not a problem. um I could, even for the right price, take and paint the whole thing from scratch. But Ron Rudat still exists, so I don't want somebody paying me for something that that man absolutely, you could contract with him. Of course, I'm pretty sure I'm a lot cheaper than Rudat. I don't know what his prices are, but yeah, it's an idea that I had the other day. I've been wanting to talk about it for like, you know, for a few weeks now. I had it when I was doing the show that I first showed those on, and man, I'm sorry the video on that just went totally to shit. But those are the blueprints I've got, and I can always, if somebody has a set of blueprints that they have, um, it'd be a neat little art project. I definitely want to, and I hope, hell, who knows? I may end up doing all of them. Whether they're sold or not, and then but I can tell you now from experience that if you pay me for them before I do them, it's a hell of a lot cheaper than paying me for them after I've done them. So, because $150 an hour are my going rates. So that I don't know, but I've always liked those blueprints. They were one of the main reasons, like, that I really like the GI Joe stuff, other than the kind of the military stuff. Now I get to, now all my military, needs are filled by looking at Haystack's Facebook and seeing him run around in all his rebuilt military vehicles. His backyard is, folks, is basically just one giant uh I don't even know how to describe it. If you're still here, Haystack, you could describe it. I'm not going to tell everybody about your toy box. uh, a military motor pool. Yeah, there it is, right there. That which is, I think, one reason why I've even past our childhood friendship, I've always loved Haystack, because you know GI Joe was always hidden underneath the motor pool. You drove into the motor pool, and then they lowered you down into the pit, which was, what, 8 stories below, 12 stories down. So you just got to go to the motor pool. So it was chaplains, assistants, and all the motor pool workers were the people that saved the day every day. It's and still, yeah. Oh, but yeah. So uh, everything a growing boy needs. I've got. There's something else that I really wanted to talk about tonight. Can't believe an hour 10 and I pretty much got nothing else going on. Which is not code for Diaz. What shitty movie is there? That is not what that means. Um oh, I not wanting to start anything, but has anybody out there heard from the people from Hella Dope Toys? Just wondering if they still exist. I haven't seen them post anything on YouTube in a cool minute, right about the time where I think everything started falling apart. But had a pre-order with them for the Elric of Melnibone, and nobody seems to be home when you knock on the door. I know they had a show here on YouTube for a while, but hella dope toys. They had some, they had these really neat crates. But it was kind of a neat little item that yeah, is it though? Because everything on there is kind of I haven't seen anything current posted on there. So, oh man, I hope that listen, I hope that I like them guys. I say that. They definitely kind of ran around with a few people that maybe question some things, but um, hopefully they have not gone the way of Dorkside. Um, I was kind of sad what happened with Dorkside. I don't. Nobody really saw that coming. It was like everybody was talking about Dorkside. It was a good place to do business with, and then all of a sudden things just start falling apart. And listen, I get it. I understand when you've got a business and it is and the floor is dropping out from underneath you, it's really hard to keep up with everything around you. I understand it. I mean, just with my own personal life right now, the floor dropping out, and there's so many things that I used to be able to just snap. I can't snap. Um, Run around and take care of, and now I have to just wait and see if it gets done. Pardonnez-moi. At didn't who bought out? Somebody bought out a lot of Dork Side. I didn't all their inventory just go to Big Bad? Did you have a lot of pre-orders with Dork Side when they just fell off? Yeah, because I know he was selling them on the Valaverse page, and he had a good amount of inventory. But I think that was, I don't know if that was inventory he bought back or just undelivered inventory that just never got delivered. So when, everything happened. Oh, that's no bueno. That I don't know. I hope them the best. It just kind of seems right about the time where they just kind of fell off from doing their show, which they were building. They weren't, they never really had a strong gathering of people, but they had some people that were showing up consistently and uh talking about the new stuff they were getting in. But then right about the time all that crap started happening with that talker idiot, they just kind of disappeared. Not that I think Elric of Meldabone is going to be that hard a figure to track down when it comes out. And it's, I don't know, it's more of, that is definitely for me a nostalgia piece because as a kid, it was definitely some of the fantasy literature that you got to understand where I grew up. You didn't get access to a lot of fantasy literature outside of, Lord of the Rings. And even that, I mean, um, there was some out there. I used to read a lot, like the Robert Jordan books. Me and a buddy of mine used to read those constant. Uh, the Wheel of Time series, but Stormbringer was, and a lot of the Michael Moorcock novels were something that you weren't going to see on the shelf. It was the only way that I saw them was a friend of mine's cousin had a few of them, brought them to town, and I don't remember if he took pity on us and just left them there, but well, there's nothing wrong with that. I listen. Whatever led you to down the road that ended up where you needed to be. That's. I'm pretty sure. Listen, I worked on a comic book when I lived in Newfoundland, and it's we only had it. You know what? It's not even a story worth getting into. But we had one channel in Newfoundland because we didn't have cable. So you had one channel that came in on a little bitty 13-inch TV while we were working on this comic book, and I was doing inking and some lettering. It was called NTV, Newfoundland Television. If you're anybody watching from Canada, I'm sure it was great. At night, they were just like MTV. They played music videos, like classic 1984 MTV music videos nonstop all night. And they'd have these little uh facts down at the bottom about you well, they didn't actually pump horse jizz out of Rod Stewart's stomach. It wasn't, it was little facts like that while they played the music. um I think VH1 used to do the pop-up video. It was kind of like that. They'd have little facts and play the video. So but during the day, uh we the only thing we had really to watch was Gargoyles. But in order to watch Gargoyles, which came on at 3 o'clock, you had to watch an hour of Care Bears. Now I know what you're saying, Max, you could have just turned the damn TV off. No, 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 no. As an artist, you need that noise. So we would watch an hour of Care Bears. I still wake up some nights screaming, Care Bear stare. Mm. My first girlfriend that I ever had, who shall go nameless because her mother hates me, um, had every Care Bear ever made. All the early stuff. If she still had them today, she would have a fortune. She'd had the Cloud Car, she had Cloud City, she had, all the stuff. And because I, was a good boyfriend for all of 2 weeks till her mother found out and was like, "There's no way you're dating my daughter." Um Grumpy Bear don't surf. Oh, Lord of mercy. But because I was a good boyfriend, I would play Care Bear with her. And she'd always get mad because I wanted the Care Bear or the Cloud Car. So why couldn't she have liked Strawberry Shortcake? Bear spurs. Oh, I don't want to click on this. Pack of smokes, Billy Club, and a bottle of JD. You ain't right, Diaz. I don't know at what height you were dropped as a child, but it was too high. Oh man. You know what? I can't say nothing. I've got Bert over there with a machete and a Barrett 50 cal. So it but yeah, we had to watch um an hour of Care Bears. They couldn't just play 30 minutes, It had to be an hour. So you get to that 30 minutes of Gargoyles because it's that easy. If you're like, why didn't you just turn it off, Max? Well, if you turned it off, then we would have gotten busy drawing, doing our actual jobs, and we would have missed the beginning of Gargoyle. And nothing hurts more in this world than not hearing previously on Gargoyles. They're whatever you need to be. That's the answer. Yes, no, heterosexual life mates, homosexual life mates, they're whatever your imagination as a child needs them to be. And if you're an adult worrying about it, then don't. If you're a child and in your child's mind, you need them to be a couple, then they're a couple. It's just like Snuffleupagus as a kid. If you needed him to be real and not just an imaginary friend, he was real. That is the beautiful thing about Sesame Street is we look at it with grown-up eyes and it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think that's, some of the people that and I'm not picking on you, Rowdy, just so you know, but like some of these people these days who are talking about like, well, that ain't my Sesame Street. My Sesame Street taught real values. You know what? It still does. It still does. It is properly made in a way. It just like these toys that they come out with nowadays. They're we're going to be blown away. For those of you who live long enough to know this, to understand when people like my kid, when she's old enough and has given up caring enough about this world that she shares what her it child mind thought of certain things the way that we think about like our GI Joes and our Care Bears and Sesame Street, what they meant to us, we're sharing now. When they're old enough to be cynical and start, and the world has ruined them enough that they start sharing what their imagination held as a child. Uh, I think that if we live that long to see that we would be absolutely amazed at the wonders that they've come up with that are not us. Yeah, that's wonderful. That's what did it bring you if as a child that brought you peace and gave you the comfort you needed, then that is the most beautiful thing ever. I believe that. If you thought they were just a couple buddies screwing around with whatever, it's or you think of the Odd Couple, or you think they're whatever they meant to you, that is what they're for. That I was always I remember as a child getting so mad, like really mad that nobody could but Big Bird could see Snuffle. I used to get pissed. I mean, just I for what my old mind remembers of my childhood, but I would get so mad because as a kid, I used to have imaginary friends. Um, at I was friends with a mermaid named Charlie. True story. She and Charlie's getting mad at me because I had a crush on her younger sister. Ah, the shit that you come up with while hiding from adults in bathrooms. I had a friend who kind of like you, Rowdy, that Bert and Ernie were, and he has excuse me, they have a large number of Bert and Ernie toys. And they were always just it was really big for them. And I think like you, they found uh just something safe. It wasn't your parents, it wasn't the parents. They were the parents that you seen them the way you really wanted to see your parents. Not particularly you, Rowdy, just speaking in general. And me not you know, feeling weird as a adolescent, you know, talking to an imaginary person and not wanting to feel weird, so I'd get upset that Snuffleupagus wasn't real. And hey, Stu, it's nice to see you. Yeah, I mean, if that's what they were to you, but again, to other people, they were something else. Like I said, for me, I grew up watching The Odd Couple. So for me, that's what Bert and Ernie were. They were just a child version of The Odd Couple. And I've heard some, at least that's the way it was until I started hanging out on Newgrounds and uh, saw all the evil Bert memes. So, now that's forever in my head. So, but it's I mean, I had plenty. I had like 12, all younger siblings of my main one. I can, I can send you one. It it's I don't know, maybe that was just a nice way of dealing with that inner voice. They say some people don't have that they never get that inner voice communication, that it's not there for them. I don't know, like, you just you think to yourself, should I say these things out loud? But it's your Deadpool breaking fourth wall voice. Um Now I never had an imaginary fraternity suit in the mail. I never had an imaginary girlfriend. I might, you know what? I might have. No, that wasn't imaginary. I just straight up lied and used the name of the girl from. It's kind of a stupid lie. Um, I needed a girlfriend for some reason, to look cool or something. I'm sure grade school shit. And I used the name Pamela Wells, which is the name of the hot chick from Michael J. Fox's Teen Wolf movie. And I immediately, like, as soon as the name left my mouth, I know that everybody was just like, "Ain't that the chick from Teen Wolf? Axe dating the what? What is good?" Nah. I was, I used to come up with shit, just like most of the time it was, I would just keep spouting off crap until somebody, until you get that one person who was like, "Man, everything you just said is wrong." And then you're like, "You're the one. You're the one I'm going to hang out with." And it was my way of it was my act of rebelling. I think just spouting off whatever I could as just a just to see what somebody would do. Were you really dumb enough to believe that? But and Hamilton. She's from Canada. She goes to school in Canada. Hey, Kaiju Kitty. Good to see you, bud. We are once again blessed with a member. What is going on with this chat? Maybe I need to charge my mouse. Um, with a member of the Council of Kaijus. It is a real thing. I did not make that up. I don't know. I'm still, one of these days, I will just get into some deep facts and revelations and psychological evaluations of my childhood, but today is not that day. But a few stories here and there are always fun. Listen, I got a little armadillo that keeps burrowing under my house that I got some rent for it in the form of a, never mind. But my wife's still mad at me because some people don't understand that possums, I would never hurt a possum. Possums are the best animals. You see a possum, do what you can to help it. They're awesome. They eat ticks, they eat all the bad bugs. They're the armadillos. Armadillos have one purpose, at least in Louisiana. Dig under the pylons of your house and pretty much collapse it. That Max, I question my life because one of my decks for a card game is worth $700. Listen, I keep watching Penguin Zero. Moist Critical keeps posting up these videos of these Pokemon scalpers and shit like that, and but it's hold on, artwork falling. Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, a lot of these adult collectibles, you've got a lot of people right now who are investment purchasers. There's a number of YouTube channels about it, and they are horrific. And a lot of us have done things like this, like, oh, I'm gonna get two of these HasLabs so I can sell one to pay for the other, and sometimes you miss out. There's a few things that I've anytime the classified series comes out with a vehicle, I always buy two of them because I know at some point somebody's going to want that vehicle. But I'm not basing my retirement on that shit. More times than not, it's going to be a friend from YouTube or the community that's like, man, I'm really looking for this, another set of snake armor, and I missed my chance and I can't find one at a good price. And I'm like, well, what can you afford? And boom. I make a little bit, but not, eBay money. But some of these investment buyers right now and it's across the board. It's not just card games. This shit is insane. And it reminds me, and you know what? Those who do not learn history are doomed to repeat it. I was there, man. I was there. I saw all the people doing this shit during the whole Death of Superman shit. When you had 3 different covers for, each comic book. If you were lucky, it was only 3. All the variants. You had the holograms. The you had one comic book would have 12 different fucking issues, and then the bottom drops out. And you've got it happening right now. You've got bottoms dropping out. They just Marvel just dropped 1,000 people from the MCU art studios. All the people who've designed all the sets, gone. 1,000 people fired today. You've got just the bottom is going to drop out. It's my kid collects Pokemon cards. I wouldn't even begin to tell you what she has, because I guarantee you somebody out there will fly across 6 countries to come and bust into a house. They just had somebody the other day, some scalper fight that ended out in a pew pew match. I don't watch about they make me angry. I've been watching Guitar Meets Science videos. Yeah, it's insane. But it's that blind box gambling addiction shit is, Pokemon is a fun game. I really enjoyed the times that I've played it with my kid. I still play it on my tablet. I've got the Pokemon TCG. That you get those little scan cards with each pack. You can put it in there. Oh, howdy, Larry. And Pokemon is a fun game. I enjoy playing it. I don't necessarily enjoy collecting the cards. I've got a couple decks. I've got my Charizard deck that I really enjoy playing with. And every now and then I'll come across a better card for that deck that looks fancier than the one it's replacing, and I, replace it. But geez Louise, I might need to just sell that deck. It might actually get me out of my mortgage problems, or get an electric bill paid, or any bill paid. I don't. Yeah, I gotta. Yeah, yeah. Where's my Charizard deck? Well, I think it's put up with the other stuff. Um, Yeah, but I think it was already there. I mean, it amplified it a little bit, I believe, but it, it's it's gotten to people scalping has always been a problem. Um, but I've never heard of it like what it is today. It's used to be able to expect, yeah, the guy's scalping, the hot listen, you want to talk about people who are deadly, Hot Wheels collectors. Um, oh, speaking of Hot Wheels collectors, yeah, read it and weep, bitches. That's Hot Wheels premium. It's not just you know Listen, some of those Hot Wheels people, and this has always been since I was a kid. Uh, Hot Wheels people are dangerous. They will knife you in an alley uh, for for nothing. So it's and nobody people who aren't into Hot Wheels, they don't think about it. So, but it's something that yeah, yeah, we don't talk to them. We don't talk to them. Yeah, we don't. That's a different circle. We stay away from. Just don't even go down the Hot Wheels aisle. Um, it you need a Hot Wheel, Amazon. You may have to wait a month and a half for it at and pay $20 for a friggin' Hot Wheel. I'm scared to open this thing. It might be worth a fortune in a week. It I'm thinking I shouldn't open my little plane. Mm, but it does that. Look at that. Oh. I remember going into a Target one time, and there was a lady who was stocking the toy aisle, and it was early in the morning. Had to go there, be in Shreveport for my wife's doctor appointment, so we were there very early. And Target's the first place that's open that has a public bathroom. So I go in there and I go over to the toy aisle, and I was like, "Ma'am, can I ask you a question?" She was like, "Not if it's about Hot Wheels." And I was like, "Oh no, 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 no! It's just GI Joe." Oh man, that woman had the look of fear, like the only kind of fear that you get, like the PTSD fear that you're the guy going who gets the pleasure of going and lighting that burn pit over there. It it's she just mm-mm. Apparently something Hot Wheels came out that day because whatever it was, she wanted nothing to do with it. So, oh, nice. Here he is, officer. He asked me about G.I. Joe. That's the man. That's the man right there. He did it. Oh, yeah, yeah, 100%. I can't begin to understand Hot Wheels collectors. I understand the collecting part of it. And I understand that there's a level when it comes to how Mattel releases Hot Wheels that yeah, it is. That's right. It's Mattel, right? Or Hot Wheels is just Hot Wheels. Who makes Hot Wheels? Holy crap. Why is there Russian writing on my Hot Wheels? Let's see. I must have got an international version because that's a whole lot of stuff on the back of that figure. Yeah, Mattel. Okay, yeah, that's right. Mattel makes Hot Wheels. Mattel is always weird about releasing stuff. Um, I can't speak for Hot Wheels because that's never been, what I go hunting for. But I do look for my Hammond collection dinosaurs, and it's always weird looking for anything Mattel releases. And I'm also judging this a little bit on some of you out there in the am I getting fuzzy? Hold on a sec. There we go. Um, some of you out there in the chatter box, um, anybody I know that collects, Master Motu or uh anything Mattel putting out, it's always a fuss trying to find what the hell you're looking for. And God help you if it's on the Mattel on premium, because apparently that is just akin to self harm. Yeah. Well, and listen, I understand as a retailer, I totally get that. First come, first serve. We'll put out more when we got more. Um, that I get. It's just I'm talking about more of how it really kind of like for me, like dealing with Hasbro anytime they say Walmart exclusive. That's just like, oh, it's gonna be one of those fucking things. Um, and I wonder if it's like that with I've heard that through some Mattel collectors out there. Mattel's not real big in my world. I can speak for Hammond Collection. I know that you know, it's gotten to the point where constantly thinking about whether I'm ever going to get a Hammond Collection, T-Rex for without paying $500 for it. Oh, listen. Uh-uh. I was there. I seen it with my own eyes. The last days of Joanne's Fabrics. You want to talk about? I'll fight a Hot Wheels collector in a dark alley any day of the week. Don't put me up against those yarnies. Mm-mm. Nope, nope. They got sticks with pokey ends. Stay away from that. Yeah, that's usually been my case. But um, that last fiasco with anything that has to do with that crystal ball line with all the dire effects, um, that has been if I can't snatch it up on Pulse real quick, it usually means I've got one of that Ghost Viper. And the only reason I got it was because a buddy of mine was like, I'll hook you up, but it's going to be, $20 over cost. And I'm like, what can you do? Luckily, I had some stuff to trade them. So I came out pretty much, I got the figure. I can still say that I have a 100% complete collection, but there's been a few of them. Oh God, I remember like even you want to talk about Target, remember the Cobra Island fiasco. That back in the early days of the classified collection, but I've definitely heard like some people who collect the Marvel Legends. Oh, Walmart exclusive? Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll see you on eBay in a month. All these companies, I don't think they really know what to do with us. I don't want to make excuses for them, but logistics being kind of something that just fascinates me as to why this is happening. And I know COVID the COVID shit is just something that it's going to be 10 to 20 years before things ever get back to normal. And it's never going to be like it was ever again. Those days, those days are gone. Um, People realized, businesses realized that they don't ever have to look or smell your stank breath to sell you shit. Yeah. And it's kind of, or Canada. Canada gets, they all, man, every time I see the Reddit posts and everybody's like, check out what I got, um, it's either Canada or Australia. And man, and I feel bad. Australia is that's a, if Ronnie's hiding out there, he can back me up on this. It's a good, it's a catch 22. You're going to get it faster than anybody else, but you're going to pay out the ass for it. And but see, that's the problem. So they don't have reps anymore. You used to have people, the way it would work, especially with, I can't speak for a lot of businesses, but I can speak about Walmart a little bit. My family worked at Walmart for years and years. Um, my family's met Sam Walton visited my grandmother when she was passing away from cancer personally. Um, that's how long my mom worked for Sam Walton in the very first in the Kingfisher, Oklahoma Walmart. And well, he'd drive up in his little red truck. So I can speak a little bit about how Walmart operates, or pre-COVID. Now how they operate, it's a little weird. I don't understand it quite, but used to have people who would come to the stores. If Hasbro would have a rep that would come by and be like, all right, this is done, this is done, this is done, this is the way this needs sets up. You're short on these figures. Let's get some of these here and get the spaces. That's why when you always see those pictures of the Toys R Us aisles where you would see every GI Joe and just taking up an entire aisle. That was because you had a representative that would come to that store and he would say, these are the sales you've had in the past. This is what I think you can sell this time. This is what I'm willing to do for the toys that don't sell to make sure that you make money. We're getting stuff, we're getting inventory sold. You're getting, things handled. And it was a greased wheel that was constantly turning nonstop. Um, the only people I know that still do that now is Snap On and Mac Tools. um, and they'll take your house if you don't pay that bill. Um, it, but that's one reason why you remember as a kid, especially us like Gen X age, you would always see when Turtles, Playmates everybody ran their business like this. That's why you would always see stock shelves. You'd still have chase items. You'd have those ones that were low production. Everybody wanted that squishy head Raphael or that squishy head Leonardo. You weren't getting it. You weren't getting it because they would sell like that and they weren't getting replaced. But nobody is doing that now. Nobody has reps coming. Now, Zuru might. You may still be getting this with some of the, but it's also, this is the first time that I know of outside of Hot Wheels. Again, nothing I speak about involves Hot Wheels because those people, that has been something that I think everything that has affected the Hot Wheels community is everything that is now affecting the other ones. So, like, typically, let's take um yeah, that's right. Only Coca-Cola, and even that has dwindled down. You know, some of the chip companies and bread. I used to tattoo one of the guys from one of the bread companies, and he's like, it's getting to the point now where we just, like, we just we don't stock your shelves for you anymore. Um, but Hot Wheels has always been like this. You've always had adult collectors for Hot Wheels. You didn't always have adult collectors for a lot of the other toys, especially with, the Transformers and the GI Joes and the Star Wars and stuff like that. And if there were adult collectors, they were doing it with their kid by proxy. Like my mom always bought Star Wars because she liked Star Wars and she was a completionist. So every Star Wars toy that existed was going to eventually be run through my house. Um, she still got an AT-AT and a Millennium Falcon mint in box. Um, I think I might have stole the stickers out of the Millennium Falcon, but she definitely got an AT-AT mint in box. Or excuse me, an AT-AT. I don't know which sounds better. I don't like AT-AT, but we're competing. Everybody says, kids aren't buying these toys. Well, they're buying them, but they're also competing with adults. I sure don't see, everybody talks about Ollies, but with the exception of that one uh Six Sister Star Wars toy, or I don't see those toys staying there long, so they're getting into somebody's hands. She had her high points and her low points, but when it comes to collecting, she's no, I don't even know where to begin with my mom, but yeah, it's the one time, and both she's still, I mean, let me tell you, it's been 40 damn years and she still kicks herself in the ass for walking into a Toys R Us, seeing an Imperial shuttle and saying, "No, I don't want to deal with it this time. If we see it next time we come to town, we'll pick it up." And she's still like, "That's the one." She's like, "That's the one that got away." um, yeah, I wish. And you know what? Listen, it's, but I don't. But people are looking at those things wrong. Um, they're they're looking at it like, oh, that's where all the toys that don't sell are going. There's more to it than that. That you're not going to see people, walk into an Ollie's and seeing clearance tags that have been scraped off the figure with it being restamped. You're not seeing that. You're seeing boxes, cases of the toys that are ending up there. And yeah, that's I probably need to give it a call anyway. But yeah, it's, but for the first time in a long time, we've got, call it, I think I call it the man's third puberty, menopause. We just, it was happening before COVID, but COVID really set it off when they're like, you know what? I always wanted that, uh, Transformers collection. And, for speaking for myself personally, right up until COVID hit, I think was towards the end of it, and I sold everything off. Um, but probably if let's see, we put a date on it. About 2013. Yeah, probably about 5 years or so before COVID hit. I'd really just like somebody had sent me a Jetfire, whatever year the Jetfire first came out, for Transformers Siege. And I was like, this is a fantastic toy. It's really fun. I really wish I'd have had this as a kid. And I came about and was like, I always wanted a Transformers collection. I was running a good business at the time, so I just went and had a complete Transformers Siege, Earthrise, and whatever the animal one. Yeah, there were 3 parts to that. But anyway, that run of Transformers, I had a complete collection. And I know some people like Larry. Let's see what. it Yeah, we got one of those box shops here in town now, and that just have a bunch of boxes of clearance stuff. Um, yeah, and people who collected the Justice League and stuff like that. It, but it probably I'll just give it somewhere. I'll just call it around 2010. At some point, right in there, you really started. Now you can't put GI Joe in this because there's always been GI Joe collectors, adult and otherwise. Um, but of course, 2010, you would have had a few 4-inch figures coming out about then, so it would have been relevant. But you really had right about that time just a surge. This is pre-COVID, mind you, of adult collectors, and I I wish I could put my finger on what it was that really just kind of set it off. But I don't know. It's something for another night because we are going to retire, folks, to the Collins Gym Dictionary of Quotations. Let us find us one beautiful for the night. Let's see. Oh, you cannot get any better than this. Vox populi, vox dei, which means the voice of the people is the voice of God. And that was in a letter to Charlemagne from Alcuin, 1735 to 804. Have a great evening. Be kind to each other. And just be kind to each other.